People sometimes want to have an experience, and augmented reality is a very interesting instrument to get a perception of how the watch fits on your wrist.
So Manuel, welcome back to the studios. Now, this brand is renowned for its unique concept, so could you explain the meaning behind the slogan, DNA of Famous Legends?
Well, it's indeed quite an unusual and innovative concept. When we started the company back in 2004, we noticed that history is a very important emotional driver for our customers. But at the same time, we wanted to be a contemporary company and not a company that was relating to the past. So we decided, how can we integrate this emotionality into the watches, this emotionality of history? And we came up with this very strong concept of saying, well, we don't have history, but we go and physically grab history of human mankind and put it into the watch, so that you can physically wear a piece of history on the wrist. That's why we came up with this idea of DNA of famous legends. We today also do the icons, because obviously legends, icons, myths somehow go together, because integrating material is a great concept, but it's also a very complicated concept, because sometimes it's very difficult for us to source the material or to get certification for it. So we added a side of the legends, materialized elements of human history into the watch, a tribute to icons of the 70s or 80s.
And Romain Jerome went digital in Baselworld in 2014, so it seems that you're driving innovation in the watch markets. How do you ensure that you mix trends with this innovation and adapt into technology?
Well, we try to be avant-gardistic in our approach, not only in the concept, not only in the type of watches we produce, but we're very open-minded to what's going on, how are the new trends, and we try them out. I mean, we did in 2014 a test with augmented reality, because we noticed that we do very limited quantities of watches, very exclusive watches, and obviously sometimes they're difficult to access because we're only distributed in about 120 points of sales worldwide. And people sometimes want to have an experience. And augmented reality is a very interesting instrument to get a perception of how the watch fits on your wrist without necessarily having to have the watches on stock. So we're trying different elements. I mean, we're very innovative if it comes to social media, if it comes to augmented reality or other concepts, because I believe that that is a part of our DNA, not just the legends, but this is obviously also part of our DNA, to be at the forefront, innovative and avant-gardistic in the approach of not only how we produce watches, how we tell stories, but also other innovations.
Absolutely, and you've recently launched Skylab 48 Skull, which is on the back of the screen here, and also a Pac-Man watch. So how do you decide what collections come about? And it kind of is a very fun style. How do you decide what makes it to the product line?
Well, we always try to again, create emotions. At the end of the day, a watch for us, the most important part of the watch is that it is an emotional object of art. And emotionalities you can build in different ways. For us, the interesting thing is to build them by creating emotional links with the 70s and 80s. Why? Because the 70s and 80s are, I would say, the early years, the birth years, or the teenager years of most of our customers, and they obviously have emotional connection with these years. We came up with the Skylab 48. Why? Because we see certain trends coming. There's a sort of strong trend again back to surf and skate, which have been very strong in the 80s, but you can see that surfing and skating become very. There's a big trend for it in fashion and other elements. And we have this this watch, which is a skeleton watch, the Skylab. We said, well, skeleton, skull, skeleton somehow fit together. We like the theme of skull, because skull is something that is an integral part of our collection, but also because skulls and wheels is a very important kind of element, visual element from the 80s, because it was a lot used in the skateboarding environment. All the skulls and desks, all the wheels and desks of the skateboards used to have skulls. So we like this association. It's not only a very technical watch, it's also a very emotional and a very aesthetical watch. Very limited too, because we only produce 9 pieces of each in different colors, 12 colors to be precise, in aluminium, anodized aluminium skulls on the skeleton basis. The other watch we launched recently The one you were mentioning is Super Mario. The video games for us is a very important theme. Again, iconic theme from the 70s and 80s. Founding element of our generation, because most of my customers and myself played with the video games when they were in the early teenage stage, in the 15s, 20 years old. And we like this idea that video games are not only a powerful emotional driver, but also they're an integral part of our, I would say, cultural reference. They are becoming, they're integrating museums collection. MoMA bought a certain number of video games to integrate into their museum collections. They are, you can start to see them coming back in artistic expression, especially in contemporary art. A lot of contemporary artists pay tribute to the video games because, again, they are, I would say, our cultural reference. And we like to pay tribute to that, not only because they look good, but also because they have a very strong emotional meaning. So we did this limited edition of 85 pieces that we launched in December last year, which is a collaboration with Nintendo, which we owns the right of Super Mario. And you can see we pay tribute to original Super Mario. Yes. It's a very complex dial. It's all in cold enamel, lots of craftsmanship. We basically also use or collaborate with the best craftsmen in the industry, but at the same in a very innovative and very contemporary expression. 85 pieces, why? Because the game was initially launched in 1985.
And it's nice that they all have a history and a story behind how many collectible items that you do in the limited edition, and also the story behind it. So they're great, and they definitely link to reminiscing the past when you see them. So thank you so much for coming in today and bringing the watches with yourself.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's all from myself, but for all the latest Dukascopy updates and interviews, do keep clicking back. But for now, it's goodbye.